lesson, we're going to put answers to probability. What is the probability of getting that? And we're going to actually put numbers. Normally it will be fractions, okay? So that's what theoretical probability. What is the probability of getting a heads when I toss a coin? It feels like a half, and we're going to explain that. So the success criteria will be what sample space is. That is a very important one, okay? Use this. I'm going to show you how to use that, and understand that all probabilities are between 0 and 1. If you watched the previous video, we sort of touched on this. We didn't. Now we're going to look at it more in detail. And probabilities can be expressed as a fraction, decimal, or percentage. Normally we look at a fraction, but there's nothing wrong with decimal or percentage. All right, all probabilities. So this is where we're going to go. So here, 0, 1, 0.5. So we're going to go 0, 1, 0.5. So here will be about 0.75, and here in between will be about 0.025. So all probabilities will be in between 0 and 1, okay? You can't get something that's greater than 1. You can't get 1.5, a probability that's 1.5. If you get that, note that you'll be wrong if it's probability. And you can't get something that's less than 0, so you can't get anything negative. What's the probability of me eating yogurt? You can't get a probability of -1, okay? That just doesn't exist. All probabilities are between 0 and 1, okay? So I'm going to rub off this highlighter. Now, all I've done is given you the decimal probabilities. I'm going to give you the fraction one. So this will be 0, that'll be a quarter, this will be a half, this will be 3/4, and this will be 1. So this is, the decimal goes there, fraction goes there, and then the percentage I'll put at the bottom, okay? Now the thing about percentage, percent means 100, so everything's out of 100. So instead of putting 1, we're putting 100%. Instead of 0, we put 0%. And in the middle, to get a half a chance of doing things, we say 50%. So we're going to go 50%. This one's 75%. And this one is, see if you can see if there's a pattern, 25, 5, 50, 75. Hopefully you've seen that this is actually indeed 25%, okay? So any one of these has to be the answer. Now, I've said you can't go above 1. Well, if you do percentages, your 1 is 100%. So you can go from 0 to 100%. But note that percent is not the same as, 100% is not the same as saying 100, okay? 100% means one whole, okay? If I eat one whole of a pizza, I've eaten 100% of it. So 1 is actually 100 in terms of percent. So write this down. So all probabilities are this. Okay, list the sample space. Now I have to tell you what sample space is. Sample space is all possibilities, okay? So there's a reason why I'm starting with this. Now I'm gonna do something fancy. I'm gonna put S and I'm gonna open up my curly brackets like this. So a 6-sided die, all the possibilities are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's my sample space. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now I'm gonna stop here. What's a sample space of tossing a coin? I'm going to go toss a coin. The sample space of this will be heads or tails, because they are the possibilities that I can get. If I would be doing a raffle and I said somebody in this class will get whatever the raffle is, a pair of glasses or something, then the sample space would be all the students' names. Student 1, Gary, Toby, Jack, Ella, Lucy, and so on, whatever they are. So sample space is all possibilities. And I probably should be writing this down. Let's write it here. Let's write it as a subtitle here. Sample space is all possibilities. So possibilities, okay? E.g., tossing a coin. The sample space will be heads and tails, all right? All right, so sample space is all possibilities. So make sure you write this down. It's really important. All right, let's go back to this example. What is the probability of obtaining a 4? Now, I want you to write this like this is what I've got here in the success criterion here, but I'm not going to reference it so much. I want you to just remember it more naturally. So I'm going to go probability of a 4. I've put my event in here, okay? Now, how many times does a 4 occur? Well, it happens once out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. So the probability is going to be 1 over 6. And that's what this success criteria means. Number of favorable outcomes. Well, 4 only happened once. The total number of outcomes was 6. So that's what we look at that. Okay. So the number of favorable outcomes, 4 happened once out of a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Hopefully that's making sense. I'm going to get rid of this because otherwise it's going to get too busy. All right, write your answer for B as a decimal and as a percentage. So the best way of doing this is to use your calculator, and there's a button if you're using the Casio, which the school wants you to do. And what we do is that we're going to put that as a percentage or as a decimal. Now, let me do percentage first, okay? So, as a percentage, we need to go back to we're going to go 1/6 and we're going to times it by 100, okay? So, we're going to go 1/6 and times it by 100. So, 1 over 6, and then we're going to times it by 100. And you should get an answer as 16.66, and it keeps going. So I'm going to round it to that, and I'm going to put a percentage, and I'll say 3 decimal places. Okay. Now, as a decimal, I'm going to put decimal in green. It's actually just going to be 1 divided by 6. If you press that button, you would get it, and you should get 0.616, and then it keeps going, 7, so I'm going to put it to there, and that's to 3 decimal places, okay? If you need help with that, let your teacher know, because that's a really important thing, okay? All right, D, what is the probability of getting a number less than 4? Now, we've got to be aware of this. It doesn't say 4, it says less than 4. I can only see 3 numbers, 1, 2, 3. So the probability, what's the event? Less than 4. So I need to write that into brackets, my event. And I see 3 numbers out of a total possible numbers of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's my probability. But I can simplify this fraction. It's the same as saying 1/2. Okay, so we're going to simplify fractions just like we've done in the past. E, what is the probability of getting an odd number? So I'm going to write it nicely again. Probability, what's my event? Odd number, so I'm going to put odd. I can put number as well if you want. Let's put odd number. How many odd numbers are there? Well, there's this one, there's this one, there's this one. There's 3 out of 6 because I've established that it's the total amount. So that will simplify to 1/2. So in actual fact, even though these two are different questions, they have the same probability or the same odds of occurring. So hopefully you're aware of that. And that's the lesson, okay? So make sure you write your you write using this notation, all right, where you put in brackets what you're looking for. So in this case was a 4, this was less than 4, an odd number, and then write it as a fraction. If the question asks you to put as a decimal or as a percentage, hopefully you have the skills to do it now as well. All right, peace out.